Tafsir of Surah Fatihah, Part 4 of 6. 5. How the God sustains and evolves the universes by extending several of his elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, into the space. We have got some idea about the souls. The souls can be defined as under ruh, elementary soul. A ruh is an elementary soul. It is an elementary force field designed to act in fixed patterns, which can hold, influence an intended entity and command it to act in intended patterns. Nafs, composite soul. A nafs is a composite soul. It is a combination of two or more elementary force fields, ruhs, elementary souls, which sustains a system, living or non-living, and determines its form, nature, and activities. Most likely, Allah had been an eternal nafs long before He began the creation. At that time, there was nothing except Him. He developed His body in form from a part of His nafs. He absorbed. A nafs is not dependent on space. We know that the part of nafsin wahidatin, gut force, from which the universe was created, had been in a point or in a very small sphere. Similarly, the nafs of Allah can remain in His body in form, though the nafs is unimaginably huge, extremely powerful, and dynamic. Now we can discuss how Allah having a form can be everywhere. Allah in form is sustaining and evolving the universes from the arsh existing beyond the universes. He exists everywhere in the universes by extending several force fields of His nafs beyond His body in form. The process is called istawa, thumma istawa. Moreover, extended and infused His force, ila isamai, into the sky. While it had been smoke, He said to it, smoke, and to the lands, come ye together willingly, or unwillingly. They said, we do come in willing obedience. So He completed them as 7 skies in 2 days, and inspired in each sky its affairs. Al-Quran 41-11-12. The command in above verse, come ye together, willingly or unwillingly, must be related to a ruh, elementary soul, force field. As according to the Quran, command of Allah is often given as ruh. The command was given to the smoke and the lands. So the command was gravitational force that brought the smoke and lands together. Allah extended and infused the force, gravitational force, into the universe. In other words, He did istawa into the universe. The nafs of Allah may comprise 99 known and unknown force fields, elementary souls, ruhs, or more. He has extended 15 to 20 force fields beyond His body in form to sustain and evolve the creations. He has extended the force fields together as His hands of nafs. Allah has designed the leading parts of the extended force fields, elementary souls, ruhs, at His willpower to act in fixed patterns. For example, one's arm, including forearm, is mere extension of one's body, but the hands are designed to perform the acts. Similarly, the leading parts of His hands of nafs are designed to act in fixed patterns. So we view some of their effects as natural laws, such as the laws of gravity. Allah sustains this universe by the right hand of His nafs, as the following verse says, and not they honored Allah, true honor, while on the day of resurrection, the land of judgment, is assembling in His hand, and the skies, samawat, this universe, rolled up in His right hand. Glory be to Him, and high is He above what they associate. Al-Quran 39-67. Both the hands mentioned in above verse are right hands of His nafs, according to the hadith. Allah sustains the arsh by the left hand of His nafs. Allah is He who raised the skies, instead of immersing into the big crunch that ye can see. Then He did istawa into the arsh by extending and infusing the left hand of His nafs. He has subjected the sun and the moon to the fixed natural laws, effected by the right hand of His nafs. Each one runs for a term appointed. He does regulate all affairs. Al-Quran 13-2. Allah sustains the Jannat through the Arsh. In addition, Allah has extended several force fields, elementary souls, ruhs, of His nafs through His face and form. So He has face of nafs as well. Allah in form has 2 eyes like the eyes of a human, but He has 7 eyes on His face of nafs. His seeing related to His eyes of nafs covers every layers and dimensions of total creation. He is far beyond our imagination. So the force fields of His face of nafs are designed for His hearing and seeing. He sees, hears, and knows everything instantly. And for Allah the east and the west, so wherever you turn, there is the face of Allah. Indeed, Allah is all-encompassing, all-knowing. Al-Quran 2-115. His hands of nafs will seize into His body and form when the universe will collapse into the big crunch. Only His face of nafs will sustain the big crunch. He will then reprogram and relaunch the big crunch, Big Bang 2, for the 3rd cycle of the universe. All that on it will perish, but will abide the face of nafs, of thy Lord, full of majesty, bounty, and the honor. Al-Quran 55-26-27. And call not besides God on another God. There is no God but He. Everything will perish, except His own face of nafs. To Him belongs the command, and to Him will ye be brought back. Al-Quran 28-88. Soon after the relaunch, Big Bang 2, He will take the universe back into the right hand of His nafs, extended again. At least one of the extended force fields of His nafs is not designed to act in fixed patterns. So it is called Holy Soul, Ruhul Qudus. He uses it for special purposes. Note, Qudus is one of 99 names of Allah. So the Ruhul Qudus, Holy Soul, should be an elementary soul, force field, Ruh, of Allah. It can be called Ruhullah as well. However, if the Holy Soul, Ruhul Qudus, Ruhullah, is infused into Gabriel for a specific act, then Gabriel is overpowered, and he may be called Ruhul Qudus while describing that act only. For example, one may say, Ruhul Qudus planted a clone baby into the womb of Mary. But one should not say, Ruhul Qudus brought the verses to Prophet Muhammad, Pbuh. In this case, one should call him Gabriel. I cite 2 cases as another example. Case 1. Suppose Jesus said, give me a pot of water. In this case, Jesus as a simple human was asking for a pot of water to drink. Case 2. Suppose Jesus said, I am the light of the heaven and earth, as said in Holy Bible. In this case, Jesus being infused and aided by the Holy Soul was saying, who Almighty God was. Allah in form looks like a human, but He has face of nafs, hands of nafs, and legs of nafs as well. After the final judgment, Allah will extend and infuse a leg of His nafs into this universe, samawat, instead of a hand of nafs. The face of nafs, the hands of nafs, and the legs of nafs are invisible, because the forces are invisible. Therefore, istawa is the process through which Allah has extended several force fields, elementary souls, ruhs, of His nafs beyond His body in form, and infused parts of the extended force fields into the universes to sustain and evolve the creations. The infused parts of His force fields are designed to act in fixed patterns. We view some of their effects as some of the natural laws. His nafs is unimaginably huge, extremely powerful, highly organized, and immensely dynamic. He can sustain and control everything, from the smallest fundamental particles to the giant universes. He is the Creator Supreme. He sees everything, hears everything, and knows everything. 6. Practical examples of the extended elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, of God. The nafs, main composite soul of Allah, which permeates His body and form, may comprise many force fields, elementary souls, ruhs, but his hands of nafs comprise extended parts of several force fields only. I think 15 to 20 force fields together form the hands of his nafs, which sustain and evolve the universes. Several likely gravitational force, dark energy, vacuum energy, quantum fields, space and God. 6.1 Gravitational force. The activities that are done by gravitational force are mentioned in the Quran as the activities of Allah, such as Allah holds the flying birds, He rotates the earth, He moves the stars, He sustains the universe, etc. Do they not see the birds, controlled in the atmosphere of the sky? None holds them, except Allah. Most surely, there are signs in this for a people who believe. Al-Quran 16-79. Do they not observe the birds above them, spreading their wings and folding them in? None holds them except Most Gracious. Truly, it is He that watches over all things. Al-Quran 67-19. A bird flies in the air by spreading and folding its wings. But it would be weightless and off-balanced if it were not held by gravity through its center of gravity, cg. The holding of birds by gravity is expressed in above verses as the act of Allah and Allah only. Allah not only holds the birds, He drives the astral objects too. The following verse talks about the act. He covers the night with the day, seeking it rapidly, and the sun and the moon and the stars controlled by His deed. Al-Quran 7:54. Allah holds the birds. He covers the night with the day, rotates the earth. He drives the astral objects like the stars. So the gravitational force is a force of Allah. A force field in a living being, Allah, should be called soul. So the gravitational force field is an elementary soul, ruh, of his nafs, composite soul, permeating his body and the force is extended through the hands of his nafs to hold the deposits of matter in the space. The force exposes significantly through the large deposits of matter, and we find that the earth is holding the birds. Actually, it is Allah who is holding the birds through the earth. He is the sustainer. The whole universe is on the palm of His right hand, hand of nafs. A soul should act on minute-to-minute wills of its owner. But Allah has designed the leading part of the extended force field by His willpower to act in fixed patterns. So we find its acts as fixed natural laws, laws of gravity. But He is always in control. According to the following verse, Allah extended and infused the gravitational force field into the single sky universe of the preceding cycle, first cycle. Thumma istawa. Moreover, extended and infused His force, gravitational force, into the sky, ila isamai, into the single sky universe of the first preceding cycle, while it had been smoke. Al-Quran 41-11-12. The single sky universe of the first cycle was full of smoke, hydrogen and helium mainly. After Allah had infused the gravitational force, it produced heavier elements, at least up to silicon. The heavier elements can form in the deposits of gases, such as hydrogen and helium, due to fusion reaction, driven by immense pressure and temperature resulting from gravitational contraction. The process is deliberately discussed in Section 7 of Chater 2. The heavier elements form dusts and asteroids that are called lands, ard, in the next part of the verses. He said to it, smoke, and to the lands, dusts and asteroids, come ye together, willingly or unwillingly. They said, we do come in willing obedience. Thus, the universe contracted rapidly, and the big bounce occurred. Al-Quran 41-11-12. On the command of, come ye together, willingly or unwillingly, the universe began contracting rapidly. Due to extreme pressure and temperature of contraction, the universe restarted expansion from a big bounce when Allah redesigned the universe as a seven-sky universe, and the present cycle began. It is said in the next part of the verses, so, He completed them as 7 skies in 2 days. 7-sky universe of the present cycle began, and inspired in each sky its affairs. And we adorned the sky of the earth with lights and with guard. Such is the decree of the exalted in might, full of knowledge. Al-Quran 41-11-12. The same description is given in the following verse as well. He the one who created for you what was in the assembly of lands, in the contracted universe of the preceding cycle. Moreover, extended and infused, Thumma istawa, his force, gravitational force field, into the sky, and fashioned them into 7 skies. And he of everything is all-knowing. Al-Quran 2:29. Figure 1.11. The Quran's model of cyclic universe. There are 7 skies in the universe. Each sky contains many galaxies. The skies are formed by the distribution of matter. The distribution of matter has waved the space as 7 skies. The skies are supergiant waves of space, one inside another, like the peels of onion. The space, though waved, is continuous. The skies are deliberately discussed in section 7 of chapter 2. So the gravitational force is not from nafsin wahidatin. It is an elementary soul, force field, ruh, of Allah, which He has extended, designed, and infused into the universes through His hands of nafs. 6.2 Dark energy. In 1990s, the scientists of 1A Supernova Cosmological Project and High-Z Search Team discovered that the rate of expansion of the universe was accelerating over time rather than slowing down. Thus, the vacuum appears to have an energy density, which is called dark energy. The dark matter is known by its likely gravitational effect on the matter, and the particles with which it may be made of have measurable evidence of its existence. By contrast, the dark energy remains in complete mystery. The name dark energy refers to the fact that some kind of stuff must fill the vast reaches of mostly empty space in the universe in order to be able to make space accelerate in its expansion. In this sense, the dark energy is like a magnetic field working as a repulsive force to accelerate the expansion of the universe. The initial configuration of the universe should have been exceptionally perfect for life to exist. If the density of dark energy were slightly higher, the universe would tear apart. If it were lower, the universe would collapse into singularity long before any form of life had the opportunity to develop. The Quran says that Allah created the sky with hand of nafs, and He is for the expanders. And the sky, we constructed it with hand, by Aden, and me for expanders. Al-Quran 51-47. In above verse, by Aden simply means with hand, but the word is normally translated with different words to match the common understanding. The above verse is talking about the hand of His nafs, with which the sky, universe, is constructed. And He says, me for expanders. So the dark energy should be a force field, elementary soul, ruh, of His nafs, which He has extended through His hand of nafs to expand the universe. It may be mentioned that the whole universe is in the right hand of His nafs. So the hands of His nafs comprise the dark energy, and He knows how fast the universe should expand. 6.3 Vacuum energy. Scientists predict the presence of vacuum energy in the space. Vacuum energy is an underlying background energy that exists in space throughout the entire universe. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. The vacuum energy is highly intense, 10,113 joules per cubic meter, but it is 0 in our dimension. It may be the light of Allah, which permeates the entire universe. Allah is the light of the skies and lands, samawat wal ard, this universe. Al-Quran 24:35. So the hands of His nafs comprise the force field, elementary soul, ruh, holding the light, vacuum energy. The space is constructed with the force fields of His hand of nafs. If the fluctuations in the fields give rise to the vacuum energy, it is his energy. However, his energy cannot bleed through his hand. He provides by breathing out. He provided nafsin wahidatin, from which everything has been created. 6.4 Quantum fields. His hands of nafs do not comprise only vacuum energy, force of expansion, dark energy, and force of contraction, gravitational force. It comprises other force fields as well, discussed below. The experiment carried out by Elaine Aspect and his team in 1982 provides strong evidence that even at great distances, the entangled subatomic particles remain connected to one another. If two subatomic particles are emitted from the same source, one influences the other instantly, whatever is the distance. So the modern quantum mechanics suggests that the universe is not made of separate elements, but it is an unbroken singular entity. In the standard model of particle physics, the masses of all particles are generated as a result of their interactions with a field, detected by CERN's Large Hadron Collider. The Higgs particle, a very unstable particle, gain mass from the field and produce other particles. Scientists think that there are 12 fields and 4 fundamental forces that produce the universe. The fields are like fluids filling the universe. The associated particles of the fields gain mass from the fields and produce subatomic particles. Ultimately, the fundamental forces such as magnetic force field, strong nuclear force field, and weak nuclear force field, except the gravitational force, capture the subatomic particles and produce the atoms. Electron, electron neutrino, up quark, down quark, muon, muon neutrino, strange quark, charm quark, tau, tau neutrino, bottom quark, top quark. Figure 1.12. Elementary particles. However, the associated particles do not derive anything from the fields. They gain mass due to their movements through the fields and produce other particles. The fields are extended elementary souls of God, and the associated particles are from the nafsin wahidatin that God provided from himself to create everything. Thus, one should not mix up a creation with God. The scientists are looking at the above-mentioned force fields. There may be more. Allah sees, hears, and knows everything instantly. Finally, there are several theories that attempt to explain the creation of matter. These theories are often grandiose, as they endeavor to explain creation without God. Simply put, Allah designed force fields, such as the magnetic field and the strong nuclear force field, by his hand of nafs, to operate within the atom. These force fields captured light, photons, to produce atoms. The photons captured by magnetic fields became electrons, while those captured by strong nuclear force fields became protons. Thus, the universe is created from RUS, elementary souls, force fields, and light. 6.5 Space and God. 15 to 20 force fields, including quantum fields, gravitational force, dark energy, vacuum energy, etc., constitute his hands of nafs. His right hand of nafs constitutes the space of this universe. It is said in the following verse, "And the sky, space, we constructed it with hand of nafs, and me for expanders." Al-Quran 51-47. The above verse is calling the universe sky, singular sky. So it is talking about the single sky universe of the preceding cycle, first cycle. He put a part of nafsin wahidatin in the palm of his right hand of nafs. He transformed the part into smoke, hydrogen and helium, mainly including small amounts of lithium, beryllium, boron, and carbon. The space of the single sky universe was uniform, and the matter spread evenly throughout the space. Later, he extended gravitational force into the single sky universe of the first cycle through his hand of nafs. The gravitational force produced heavier elements, at least up to silicon. When the big bounce occurred, He organized the universe as 7 skies by the distribution of matter, smoke, dusts, and asteroids into the space. The presence of matter waved the space as 7 skies, 7-sky universe present cycle. The 7-sky universe needed the dark energy to expand, which he extended through the same hand of his nafs at the end. He is sustainer and evolver from the level of elementary particles. Every inert thing is devotedly obedient to him. When he decrees a matter, he says to it, "Be," and it is. To him is due the primal origin of the skies and lands, this universe. When he decrees a matter, he says to it, "Be," and it is. Al-Quran 2-117. He can do whatever he may want to do, at any place, at any time. Even a human does not think without his will. 7. How the God became God. It is likely that Allah was an eternal nafs, composite soul, long before he started the creation. His nafs was a combination of known and unknown force fields, elementary souls, ruhs. He did not have a physical body and form at that time. There was nothing except him. A force field is eternal, and it possesses many inherent qualities. A few of the known qualities are discussed below. A force field is conscious by nature. The double-slit test proves that an electron, moving as wave, becomes particle when it is observed. So it is conscious and can decide to act accordingly. A force field possesses information. The smallest photon acts differently with different kinds of subatomic particles. It produces the lights of different colors at different energy levels, and so on. A force field has inherent emotions. A just-born baby can feel interest, distress, disgust, and happiness. So these emotions are not products of his brain. Moreover, a brain is a lump of matter. It cannot have emotions, whatever its design may be. These emotions are inherent properties of some unknown force fields of our souls. Thus, an extreme nafs, comprising many kinds of interactive known and unknown force fields, should possess extreme willpower, intelligence, and ability, resulting from its consciousness, emotions, information, power, and greatness. Therefore, Allah could develop his physical body from a small part of his nafs. He absorbed the rest of his nafs into his body in form. Then, he had a physical body with a nafs inside. His body in form may include many elements that he has not given to the creation, and his internal structure may be different. His body in form is not dependent on anything. A nafs is not dependent on the space. For example, the part of nafsin wahidatin, GUT force, with which the universe was created, was in the Big Bang. Mathematically, the Big Bang was a singularity, defined as a super-hot, super-dense point. So a huge nafs, GUT force, could remain in a point, or in a small sphere. Similarly, the nafs of Allah, which is unimaginably huge and powerful, can be in his body in form, even if his height may be equal to the height. As he developed his shape, he became more organized, intelligent, and capable. At one stage of his personal development, he separated, breathed out, a part of his nafs, called nafsin wahidatin. He extracted necessary force fields from the nafsin wahidatin and created the nafses of living creatures. The force fields that produce the nafses of living creature are not yet discovered. 2023. He created the arsh and a huge quantity of water from a part of the nafsin wahidatin. The water was filling the superspace below the arsh. He created this universe, kursi, and several other entities from the leftover part of nafsin wahidatin. Allah initiated the creations at a suitable stage of his personal development. And he is sustaining and evolving the universes for billions of years. It has developed his intelligence and capabilities to an enormous height. Today, he is a smart creator, sustainer, and evolver. We are nothing in front of him, even at a comparative scale. He is a successful God indeed. He is one and only. So praise be to Allah, the sustainer and evolver of the universes, Alamin, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of law. 8. Conclusion. Allah alone sustains and evolves the inert creations. None can help him in this aspect. An atom is too small to help, and a universe is too big. It is Allah who sustains the skies and lands. Samawat Walard, this universe, lest they cease. And if they should fail, there is none, not one can sustain them thereafter. Verily, He is most forbearing, oft forgiving. Al-Quran 35-41. Allah alone can do it, because He is evolving the universe in a single time scale, starting on the day of law, Yawm ad-Din. Praise be to the God, the sustainer and evolver of the universes, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of law, Yawm ad-Din. Al-Quran 1-2-4. However, the living creatures have diversified activities. So, He had predicted their fates and invested angels to monitor them. The empire of angels is automated by a huge cybernetic system discussed in Section 9 of Chapter 6. Allah in form often comes down into the first, innermost sky by extending His kursi. He inquires about the deeds of humans to the angels. The angels say, "You already know what they have done," or words to that effect. Because though Allah in form usually remains in the Arsh, He exists everywhere too, by the extended elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, of His nafs. He sees, hears, and knows everything instantly. Nothing can happen without His permission. Allah says, "Even then you say what they have done," or words to that effect. It means that Allah intensely checks the angels in respect of their recording of deeds and collecting memory data of the human beings. The day-to-day memory data and the record of deeds will be required for resurrection and judgment of a human. Finally, people ask questions. Following discussions will answer several of those. 8.1 His control on His nafs. A human cannot extend an elementary soul, force field, ruh, of his nafs into a side room and know what is happening there. But Allah has extended several elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, of His nafs to sustain and evolve the creations. He sees, hears, and knows everything. He says be, and it is. So Allah has immense control on His nafs. Otherwise He could not extend the elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, beyond His body in form. Allah in form lives in a special domain of the Arsh. He cannot be approached due to His extreme light and power. The universes are very big, and the extended elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, of His nafs are thrusting with extreme powers to sustain and evolve the creations. At present, Allah in form comes out of His domain by extending His kursi that provides protection to the near creations to some extent. He comes to some special objects of this universe and takes the reports from the angels. But the kursi has limitations. Even its highest degree of protection cannot protect a normal object like the earth. The hill of Moses was burned. However, Allah is so powerful that He can retract the extended elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, of His nafs into His body and form. On the day of judgment, the universes will be contracted. So, His extended elementary souls will largely be retracted into His body and form. So He in form will be according to the hadith, on the day of judgment. At first, He will come on the land of judgment as a normal human being. But humans will not recognize Him as God. Then He will return and will come back ceremonially. He will come back after the marshalling of angels, jinns, and humans. Allah does not need to remain concentrated on the universe to control the objects. He has designed His extended elementary souls, force fields, ruhs, to act in fixed patterns, viewed as some of the natural laws. and the inert creations are configured to act in desired patterns, viewed as rest of the natural laws. He fixed the natural laws and set the initial configuration of the universe on the day of law. Praise be to the God, the sustainer and evolver of the universes, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of law, Yawm-id-Din. Al-Quran 1-2-4. As the natural laws and the initial configuration of the universe were fixed, the evolution of the universe got fixed. Allah sustains and monitors mainly. 8.2 Absolute creation and annihilation. Allah exists forever. He was never created. He separated a part of his nafs, nafsin wahidatin, and transformed it into creation. So he created by transformation. Absolute creation is not possible for him. It is a positive quality of Allah. Nothing can be annihilated as well. A thing can be transformed only. Absolute annihilation is not possible, even for Allah. If Allah destroys an entity absolutely, the ultimate products will be with him. It is a positive quality of Allah. According to the hadith, Allah cannot send a thing beyond his creation. There is no space beyond his creation where he could push a thing out. If it were tried hard, the thing would return to its originality and would still be with him. It is a positive quality of Allah. We are humans. We take birth. We view creation as the way of coming into reality. Though we are repeatedly told that Allah was never created or he did not take birth, a question remains in the deep of our hearts. Is it true? We cannot perceive the reality. Allah is eternal. The creations have beginnings and ends relating to the transformations. 8.3. Believe the Quran only. Finally, a human's knowledge is limited, and his mind cannot perceive the greatness of Allah. So believe what are clearly taught in the Quran. Say, He is God, the one and only. God, the eternal, absolute. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like unto him.